A thumbs up once you. All right. Hi, I am Diamond Ambassador Heather Burke. I am everyone on this call's upline. Just depending on the level, it goes me and then Amanda Salee and Rachel Wagner and then Kimberly. And so all of y'all. Tonight I had kind of just debated on what to talk about, and something I started thinking that I've heard from different people throughout the summer and the early fall was just what to do when you're in a funk in your business. This business, direct sales, MLM in general, Plexus especially, it can be an exciting, adrenaline-inducing business. It's so exciting to see yourself hit ranks, hit goals that you didn't think were possible. And once you start doing that, it builds this confidence in you, and it makes you feel like you can kind of accomplish anything. I know that for me, the biggest goal that I had when I first started was hitting gold. And it was because I really didn't think I could, to be honest. I really thought if I hit gold, that would be years down the road. And I thought that would be just this big, massive achievement. And when I hit it, I felt like I could be diamond. I felt like since I hit that goal, I could go all the way. I mean, it built my confidence just sky high. But everyone knows that also in this business, you have hard times. So what happens when things get hard? What happens when you achieve these goals and then your business starts to slide a little backwards? What happens when you hit a goal and you feel like you're flying towards the next one, but then you hit a plateau? And what happens if maybe just even that first goal that you set for yourself is a little harder to achieve than you thought? What you do at this moment is going to be pivotal in your business. This is going to be where you either decide, okay, I'm going to take this moment and grow and learn and develop as a leader and as a person and as a business-minded person, or there are people that are tempted to think, you know what, this just isn't for me. I just knew MLM wouldn't work. Oh, I mean, maybe I saw success at first, but that was just, it was just crazy. That it's not for me. And then they give up. So what you do in those moments is going to define where you go. Here's the thing. I can promise that no matter who is on this call, no matter anyone in this business, Jewel, it does not matter their rank. It does not matter anything. Everyone is going to have highs and they're going to have lows. And they're going to have lots of both. It just kind of is a roller coaster. It might seem like a cliche, but it just is what it is. This is why we focus on having a why. I know you've probably heard people speak about that, but your why, that's what will motivate you in the hard. That's what's going to motivate you to go forward. It motivates you to continue on, and it gives you a reason to keep going. So if you don't have a why that gets you through those times, maybe it's time to reevaluate. I know that for some people when they start the business, for me, when I very first started, my why was just that I wanted to get healthier, but I couldn't afford the products, so I needed to sell enough to get my products paid for. That why worked for me for a little while. That why would not have kept me around. So there came a time where I had to reevaluate. So I was like, okay, well, my products are now paid for. This is great, but I don't want to stop at this goal. I'm going to set this bar a little higher. So I thought long and hard, and I thought my why was financial freedom for my family. That at the time was just getting a few bills paid for. That was paying for my groceries. Once I started achieving that, my why, it expanded even more to, okay, my husband is working long, crazy hours. He is exhausted. He does so much for our family. He was driving a bus. He was teaching. He was coaching a few sports. He would do different duties around the school, like different clubs and everything. He was gone all the time. So my why then expanded to, I want him to be able to stop driving that bus route. And then we thought, well, maybe he could stop coaching. And then it expanded to maybe he could be home. Maybe he could not have these long hours. So that why and keeping that vision in front of me, it kept me going and it kept me moving. But had I not reevaluated all these different times, I would not have had something to keep me around in the difficult times. My continued why is just to stay financially free for my family, because I know what that does. So if you have lost track of your why, and if you are in a hard time, that is something I would reevaluate, and I would keep it front and center, because this is going to keep you going. It just is. The next thing I want you to do is reevaluate. I want you to look at your business and do an honest self-evaluation, okay? Are you still doing the same level of work daily that you did at the beginning or at your times of the highest success? What were you doing then? Were you reaching out to people? Were you out like mingling with people? Were you meeting new people? Were you posting more, engaging on Facebook? What were you doing different? Were you following up more faithfully? Were you learning more? What were you doing? And just think about that. Now, you might be doing all those things, so that's great. But if you're not, just have an honest time of self-evaluation, because there have been times where I'm like, I don't really have any customers coming in. What's going on? Well, then I'll look. Well, I'm not posting faithfully on Facebook. And you know what? Those customers I did have, I stopped following up with them, and then they dropped off. Well, it was probably partly my fault because I wasn't reaching out to them to make sure they were having success. So an honest self-evaluation. Another question I'm going to ask is, do you still have belief, and does it show? This could be product belief. Do you have the belief in the product still? Do you have belief in the business still? If you do, can those around you see it? If you don't, again, let's evaluate. So for me, if I start feeling like, oh, well, I don't know, what I would do is I would sit and I would think, and I would look back. I just kind of flip a switch in my brain, and I think back to what I felt like before Plexus. I felt awful. I was sick all the time. I had migraines. I had no energy. I napped every single day. I mean, I got strep 3 times a year. The week before I started Plexus, I'd been down with the flu, and that was following 2 stomach bugs and 3 bouts of strep in like a 4 or 5 month span. I think back to that. I remember what it was like to not have money to pay my bills. My mom helped. She paid ballet for my kids. We couldn't afford it. She wanted them to have those activities. That was something we could not do. Bobby's mom, this is not something we tell very many people. She helped us pay our car payment because that was something we couldn't afford on his salary. And we both were working as much as we could. I remember at the very lowest point, right before I started Plexus, we had a ton of financial difficulties, and we had many, many, many bills come in that we were not expecting. And one was a doctor bill. And I remember bawling my eyes out on the phone with Nikki Hinkle, and she PayPal'd me the money to pay my doctor's bill. So whenever I'm tempted to think, maybe it's not worth it, or if I ever was, I remember those moments, and I don't ever want to go back. And that launches my belief like crazy. I believe in this opportunity. It has done miracles for my family. I believe in the products because they have changed my health and my family's health radically. So that's one of those things that if you have a moment of just, oh, I don't know, look back and remember what it was like before you found that comp plan, before you started getting those checks, and before your health changed. So that's one thing. And then have gratitude for that. And that's my next point, is to focus daily on what is going right. Even in the hardest times, we can find several things that are good. And I think when we focus more on that, that's where our mind goes. And that's one of those things. There's several TED Talks and different things that you can listen to talking about gratitude. And people that are successful, gratitude is one of the things they practice all the time. So if you've forgotten to do that, or you've gotten so stuck on what's not going right in your business or in your personal life, I'm just going to challenge you to every day write down 3 things that are going right, whether that's in your business or your personal life. And you're going to notice that you start picking up on those things more, and that is going to impact your business. I promise. The next thing I'm going to point out is that you need to realize that some challenges might be out of your control. And I want you to have grace for yourself. During some of the back office glitches, I would have people coming to me and going, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And I would look And I had to say, honestly, you're not doing anything wrong. And I would say, have grace on yourself. And I'm going to say that to each of you too. Sometimes some of the backward momentum might not be something you're doing wrong. It just might be the phase that we're in the business with the glitches. That is also not an excuse to blame everything on the back office. I'm saying don't beat yourself up unnecessarily, but I'm also saying don't blame everything on that and just say, well, I can't do it. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. There are lots of people out there that are having success and growing their business despite the glitches in the back office, and they're facing the same things we are. If they can do it, you can do it. We can do it. We can all work our business and do it successfully despite that. But don't beat yourself up for things that might be out of your control. So now we're going to focus on refocusing. Put new goals out there for yourself. Have a laser intense focus on those goals. Come up with a plan. It might be a new plan. It might be looking back at what you did that was successful, implementing those things, but it also might be trying a few different things. Stepping out of your comfort zone, talking to other sideline sisters or whoever, teammates, finding what works for them. Don't implement everything because you're going to overwhelm yourself, but find something that you think, maybe I could do this, and work on that. There is a daily tracker that I sent to Kimberly earlier that's a great IPA tracker for some people that sometimes there are individuals that have a really hard time just knowing what to do each day. This is a great tool that you could use to make sure you are doing this income activity every single day. And it just has a list, and you can print off 5 and tell yourself, I'm going to do this Monday through Friday. And then have someone to hold accountable. So my cousin, Kendall Boyd, she does this. And every morning when I wake up, I see a message from Kendall, and I look, and she has sent me she chooses to do her work first thing in the morning. She has sent me a picture of her filled out daily plan tracker. So it has been great and has done huge things for her business. So I sent that to Kimberly just as one tool that maybe you could use as something different. Have someone that will hold you accountable. And then the key is don't get upset when they do. Sometimes you'll tell people, I want you to tell me, I want you to make sure I'm doing this. And then when they call you on it, you come up with excuses. So have someone hold you accountable and don't get upset when they do. Realize that it often takes 90 days to see the fruits of your labor. So you are going to be planting your seeds. You're going to be doing this stuff. And this is something we actually talked about at Leaders Retreat. And I leaned over to Nikki and I was like, oh my gosh, we had told people that all the time, not even realize that was an actual statistic. I used to always tell people, it usually takes about 3 months before you see any results from this. And that was business, products, whatever. I mean, people would see results in their health before that, but really when they were posting and all of that, it would be about a 90-day turnaround time. 90 days from now is the first part of the year when people are in skyrocket mode. That's when people care about their health. So the seeds you're planting now, if you start to do the diligent work now, that is going to pay off for you in about January or February. So keep your eyes on that. Don't think, oh my gosh, no one responded this week to this work I'm doing. Just know you're doing the work now. The results will pay off later. Continue to work on yourself. Self-growth is vital. And I know sometimes when you go through just a hard time, it can be easy to let that go. Don't be tempted to do that. Find things that will challenge you. The Success on Demand library is an amazing tool that our company has given us, and you can search topics that maybe you're needing. So maybe you're discouraged. Maybe you search a topic for encouragement or gratitude or happiness. Maybe you need to grow as a leader, so you look up things for that. Maybe goals are the thing that's hard for you, so you look up things on that topic. The beautiful thing about the Success on Demand library is a lot of things are in bite-sized pieces. So I have found that when I go on there and look, a lot of things are like 5 to 10 minutes. They're not asking for a huge time commitment. And it really just, if you do that every day, it changes your outlook. So I would continue to focus on yourself. Keep your eyes on the prize. Don't look to the left, to the right. Don't look to other people's successes, and don't look to other people's difficulties. And when I say that, people might go, huh? But what I've seen often is I will have a leader that's doing amazing. Their business is in momentum mode, and then they start talking to someone that starts griping and talking about all the things that are going wrong in their business. And all of a sudden, this person that was on fire is saying about all the stuff that's going wrong that hasn't even affected them whatsoever. So I would say, just focus on your goal. Know that hard times are going to come. Know that good times are going to come. People around you are going to succeed. People around you are going to fall off. It's just the way it goes. Don't let that deter you from your goal. And then I found this quote. I'm trying to bring my notes up. It was actually in my planner today. I thought it was hilarious when I was typing all this out. And then I looked down at my planner and it had this quote from Confucius. And it said, when it is obvious that the goals cannot be reached, don't adjust the goals, adjust the action steps. And I thought that was perfect because there's going to be times that you do have to readjust things. Don't take that as failure. Just take that as a learning curve and just as a way to grow. So kind of wraps up. I hope there were a few helpful tips in there for y'all. And just know to keep on trucking. And I think Kimberly wanted to be able to open it up for some questions and answers. If y'all are interested, if you have any questions, happy to answer some. Or if not, you can have your night.